Caleb Menge is the first card we're going to be seeing here. 5 strength, 8 provisions, profit 3. You gain 3 coins next to your leader. And then if you want to spend them right away, you can place a bounty on an enemy unit. And if you had 9 coins, let's say, you can place 3 bounties on enemy units if you have benefit for that. So that's how this card works. So let's look at it right now. So profit 3, they were saying that the highest amount of profit that a card has is 6. So we can say that this is decent. If 6 is an outlier, and also 6 seems like extremely high. So I think that you're probably not going to see very many things higher than 3, except for that one. So this guy gives you 5 strength on the board plus 3 coins. So it's almost like we see the coins as a trade-off for the strength. So it's like you get 8 for 8, which is a good deal if you want to actually look at the value like that. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that cut and dry, especially considering you can spend the coins on anything that has a fee, anything that has a tribute, right? So these coins have multiple use. So because it's so versatile, you have such flexibility with the coins. It's interesting to see how they've actually valued this. So 8 for 8 if you want to say profit is on point, but we're not going to say that because that's not true. Now it also has a fee. So it's almost like you could say that this has a deploy effect if you want. The deploy effect is place a bounty on an enemy unit. But if you have more coins, you can do this more times. Kind of like a cooldown, kind of like a charge. Not really, it's new. Very cool, elegant way of making this new mechanic. And I love this new crown mechanic. I'm loving the idea of coming up with decks in the future like Gold Rush, whatever, like the hoarding decks with the pirates. I love it. But this guy, obviously, witch hunters care about bounties. Bounties make you more money, so I imagine witch hunters have the best payoff cards for fees and for tributes. It seems like that's kind of like the direction that you'd want to go in, right? Yes, Buddha's asking a great question in the chat. Any idea if crowns carry over? They do, but only half, and I imagine it rounds up because everything in this game does round up. So half crowns rounded up will carry over from round to round. So if you want to play a horde type deck, you'll still need to have cards that generate constant profit for you. So it's interesting. So seeing how the bounty works, it just amounts on like looping. You're placing a bounty, you're making profit off this guy. You're placing a bounty, you're removing stuff, you're making more profit. So there needs to be engines involved with gaining money. So this guy will either be good or bad based on that. Now on the other side, this guy also looks like a witch hunter. I think he is. These are all Witch Hunter cards. So this is a 9 provision card, 4 strength unit that deals 4 damage. Shit, we know those cards are getting nerfed all day long. This is Morel's Witch Hunter value machine. But this guy's even better. If you want to spend 6 of your crowns, this guy will just kill any unit no matter what. Just kill that unit. If you can target it, it's dead. So this card was, Austri said this card was the best card on the PTR, or voted like the card that people like the most. It's a good card. Obviously people like it because you can just see that it's immediately competitive. It's doing what other cards at 10 are doing, sort of, and it's got an upside that's amazing upside. This guy can fix, you have to play around this card. Basically you have to play around this card like, if this guy still has more else in his hand, nothing I play lives. Nothing I play lives. Especially if he has the tribute. But also, you can read your opponent. If he doesn't have the ability of gaining 6, then you know that if you can actually play something out of this card's damage range, like let's say late in round 3, it's going to survive. It's going to proc. So you can actually like read your opponent when this card is at its most dangerous. You're going to have these crown thresholds in these matchups you're going to have to keep track of. And this card's going to be like, basically, this card is going to make 6 the threshold for every Syndicate player. Once you hit 6, you can bluff automatically because this card just exists. I like this card a lot and what it means. Witch Hunter Executioner. Now this is a card that I think I liked more than other people because this card is just like a charge machine with zeal. You play this card, if you play this card when you've got a bunch of money, you play it and you go bip, 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 bip. You put bleeding everywhere. You just put bleeding everywhere. And if any of those cards have bounty, you can just start killing it because it'll take the damage up front. And it gets you 2 coins when you play him, so you can immediately go boom, boom right away. So he's 5 for 5 automatically, and there's no way we have to dance around it. Those 2 coins immediately translate into 2 damage in a bleed effect. But the way it kills the bountied character is actually pretty dope. And when it kills, the thing with the bounty, you gain more coins back from the thing you killed. So then you can start packing on more bleeds. Witch Hunter Executioner is an awesome card. I love that card. This guy, Back Alley Chemist or Back Alley Alchemist, this is showing off another cool effect. I don't know how competitive it is, but damn, do I love this effect. Poisoning your own units. This is a 4 provision cost, 4 strength card. And you know, there's a place for cards like that. Deploy, give an allied unit poison and boost it by 2. So that's pretty good because it's a 6 for 4. But then we immediately go into the next card they show, which is the Wretched Addict, which is another 4 for 4. And every allied turn, if this card is poisoned, boost it by 1. So this guy works with the other guy. They're both 4 provision point units. So if you have the Wretched Addict on the board, so that means you end with 12 points on the board and an engine after playing 2 4-point cards. Not bad. Also, this is a pretty good portal target if you have cards. I mean, even if you have the Back Alley Chemist in your deck, you're portaling out a 4-point card, so it's like not bad. So let's talk about the Fire Swarm. 94 cards in the new faction, Professor Murdoch. I'm so pumped too. It's going to shake up the game big time. That's the thing. Nothing shakes the game up more than a new faction, because you got to balance around the new faction, and also you're giving all the other faction stuff to use. So it's pretty wild, right? Pretty wild. So let's talk about this next card here. Now we're talking about the Firesworn card. So we're still in the Syndicate faction, as we will be for the entirety of this video. Now we're seeing a 10 provision point card. So you imagine this is a real heavy hitter. Well, first of all, he comes down as a 4 strength body and he gives you 4 crowns. So whatever you can do with those 4 crowns is good. But if you can't do anything else with them, you can just pump them right into the Grand Inquisitor Helvede. So this is Grand Inquisitor Helvede. If you want to put the coins right back into Helvede, he will spawn a Firesworn Zealot, which is a 2 strength token like Ekamara. So you're going to see a lot of tokens like it's like very Ekamara-like, only they have cards that care about it. So you're going to have a lot of swarmy tokens. So this guy gets you 8 immediately, plus just a dump, a coin dump. You just want to pump coins into this dude. He keeps creating bodies. Awesome, awesome card, right? He's expensive, so I want to protect this dude all day long. If only there was a card that protected engines. Oh, Syndicate has them. Syndicate has them. But we're still talking about... Now we got more 4-point cards. I like this. I like the color they picked for Syndicate, I gotta say. Whenever you spawn, so this one is the Eternal Fire Priest, 4 provisions for 3 strength. Whenever for 3 strength engine. So this is another engine. It's not quite Intimidate. This is whenever you spawn 1 or more units, boost self by 1. So every time you spawn a unit, every instance of spawning units, this guy gets a boost. So he's a cool engine. Another great card for Portal, gotta say. I always keep my eye on that card. And then finally, you have the Keeper of the Flame. This is a 5 provision point, 3 strength card that deploys on deploy, boost adjacent units by 1. But when you have the Tribute, so if you want to pay 4 crowns immediately, you boost all allies on the row. All allies on the row. So boost by 8. Hey, that's okay. I'll play an 11-point bronze at 5. I mean, we're talking about the ceiling, obviously, but okay. It's possible. And you're spawning all these units. So it's like, it's possible. You're building a deck that is more likely to swarm the board. This card's pretty dope for 5 provision, right? If this, I'll say this. If this card proves to be too good, it goes up to 6 in the first patch. It's not too hard to meet the condition. But just in closing about the Firesworn Priest mechanic, I think it's pretty cool. I do like the spawn mechanic in general. And there's something else I wanted to say about it. I just think that it's like, it really feels like these are separate faction cards. Like you could say this is like very realistically could be in any other Swarm deck, but because Swarm as an archetype is usually supported by neutral cards, like Bone Talisman, Yennefer, well, I mean, Monsters has Glusty Warp and stuff that works with that, but I mean, Eternal Fire is also going to have that too. Syndicate is going to have that too. So it's just really good. They got the flavor really, really awesome, I think, here. Then we're going to talk about the Crown Splitters. So these are the dwarves. So we're going to see a lot of, we see dual faction cards with dwarves. So things that care about dwarves. Scoia'tael gets some goodies, my friend. Scoia'tael cards are no slouches. Trust me. This is your Ducal Guard, right? 4 for 4, Intimidate. Whenever you play a crime, boost self by 1. That is what it does. Almost all the special cards in the Syndicate are crime cards, so you're going to want to play more special cards than you would normally play, I guess, in an average deck that isn't scoia'tael. But it's, this Syndicate's going to have a lot of special card fusion decks. And the Crown Splitters and the Dwarves, the scoia'tael fusion decks, and Intimidate decks. And there are some good Intimidate cards, my dudes. So I think it's going to be pretty viable right away. I think that they definitely priced these well. They just went straight out and said, we're doing the 4-for-4 engine. Let's go, fam. That's what we want to do. So I like that. And then we got the Sausage Maker. This card is another 10 provision point card. So we're getting to see the big boys of this faction. The stuff that they're really putting the big price on. Look at this dude. Love this dude's tattoo. He's got the spider web on the beard. Yo, maybe I can rock that. Maybe I'll do a spider web on a beard. That seems like pretty badass, but like if I want to grow the beard, I would get a bit more vanilla. But if I wanted to shave it, I would look more like this dude. Hey, do you guys think this guy's hardcore? The Sausage Maker, 10 provisions for the 5 strength unit that has Intimidate, so he's also an engine. He also profits you 3, so you can start spending those coins. And if you can pay the price to make the sausage, this guy's going to stick around for another round. So if you pay this dude enough, this dude will hang out. This dude is very loyal to money. This card is dope. This card is super strong, I think. We have yet to see the application, but the idea that you can get the money, you build up your money, and you pay this guy off to stick around, and he's got a 5 strength body, and he's an engine, and he profits you right away, so he's more likely. He's like, hey, I'll give you a discount on the first round. Let's see if you can pay for the third one. He like starts you on a quest. This card is so cool. Oh man, these cards are so great. Finally, this card also so good. This was another some of my favorite cards were some of the bronzes, just how strong they were and how fresh they were able to take the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aspect of some of these cards. Because these cards don't have to count very high. And when you don't have a lot of ways to count to 5, these cards can get kind of stale, right? This card is not stale. 5 provision point card for his 3-point unit that does 2 points of damage, so he's removal, but he's also an engine. Solid card, fairly vanilla. He's coming at you with a big axe. He's paying this other dude back for stabbing him in the hand in another card that we'll see later. But I just love the idea of playing. It's such tempo, right? It's a sweet tempo card. Here we go, though. Now we're into the first dual faction card representing the Tide Cloaks, the pirates, the guys that want to hoard that money, the guys and gals, actually. This is the dual faction card. So this is a card that Austri said, no compromises. We wanted this card to be good for the Syndicate and good for Skellige. So what do? They made a card that protects engines. All right. Well, Skellige has engines and Syndicate has engines. We already saw so this guy automatically works very well, I think, with Grand Inquisitor Helvide. So he's protecting. There's Hattori in the background, by the way, right? Isn't that Hattori in the background? I think that's Hattori in the background. So there's another really awesome thing about this. Oh man, I'm so glad you said this, Professor Murdoch. This is an example of a dual faction card, right? Skelligers that went to Novigrad and started hiding out there and getting that money. So if you love a faction and you're a faction mate, you're like a diehard Skellige fan or a diehard Northern Realms dude, you actually have flavor that will draw you into this faction. So scoia'tael has that dwarven flavor. Skellige has that pirate flavor. So this is that dude. So he protects engines. That's great for both factions. But he protects engines in the form of preventing damage. Skellige has self-wound. They have self-wound, and they have that lot of stuff that damages units and stuff like that to proc other things. Also, Eternal Fire has really good engines as well at the low bronze slots and the high gold slot. Oh, and did I mention this dude's got a body? Ooh, he's got a body to die for. 6 strength body on this card. 10 provisions. He costs money, but man, 6 strength for a card you have to get rid of is like no joke. They already nerfed Avalok for this reason because he used to be 6 as well. Dip in the Pontar. It's the first look at a crime card. So this is a crime card that is thematically Tide Cloak, thematically pirate. So this is Dip in the Pontar. So this dude's getting the dip, and it is damage an enemy unit by 3 and profit by 3. So that means that you gain crowns, which is good because if you have anything on the board that gets a fee, this is Demavend Syndrome. You can't say that they're going to exist because in a removal meta, they might not. So you can say that the fact that you profit without a body or profit with an immediate use for the crowns is already very kind of like, ooh, you know, I get a little bit about cards like that. I got to play them to see if I like those cards yet. But you also get damage by 3, so it is removal. But I'm wondering pound for pound. But the good thing is there's so many cards that care about crimes. If this card here, dip in the pawn tower. If this card is a bad rate, then it's going to make up for it because of how good Intimidate turns out to be. If Intimidate turns out to be good. And I think Intimidate will turn out to be good. So I think that it's going to be hard to dissect the rate of these cards right away. So temper your expectations. And then we have the Sea Jackal, I think. Another awesome, cool pirate flavor. Another 4 strength card for 4 provisions. So these guys have good value bronzes. This card seems pretty good. So this is a guy that has a fee but no profit. So he has no way of gaining you coins, but he cares about coins. So he's a late game. He's a late game card, but he's also, you play him early as well. Also, you're down to play him through Portal as well, because anything with a fee card is like having an order card or an onboard effect. So he's automatically an attractive Portal card, plus being 4 strength, harder to remove. Plus being able to boost himself, it just generally is harder to remove. Plus, since it's a fee thing, if you play him late, hold on a second. If I have 7, is it saying that when I pay the fee, I boost by 3? So if I have 9, for the first 2 boosts, he boosts by 3. And then for the last 3 boosts, he boosts by 2. That's like a pretty insane payoff for a 4 provision point card.
So if you will have 9 coins, you will use fee, he will boost self by 3. You have 7 coins, you use fee, he boosts self by 3.
Nice.
Now you have 5 coins and he will only boost self by 2 because Horde is not there.
Oh.
So as I said, they like to gather money, they don't like to spend it. And
nice.
that's how this game
exactly
works.
what he says.
And this is the end of Tide Clothes.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, you do have to have the coins, and the coins aren't like exploding out of the purse for the entire game. You have to have 3 rounds, and you have to generate coins. You lose coins over time. There is a deterioration of half your coins every round. So it's probably just the idea, though, like the idea that you have a 4 provision point card that at the end of the game is a bomb is like, it seems crazy, right? You have 2 like win condition cards at 4. It just seems crazy, right? I don't know. I could be wrong. It just seems like this card could be very, very strong. All right, so pickpocket. So this is an example of how they value profit. So this is a profit of 6, which is a high amount of profit. Now that we've actually had a lot of cards to kind of juxtapose that against it. What? Am I saying that right? Does it work? So 6 profit. So it seems like it's actually a good pirate card, but if you just have a lot of spends and a lot of tributes, the idea that you need to gain this, you need to have engines that care about gaining coins and cards that you need to have like crime cards. So I don't know about the pickpocket. It's a gold card too, so they only want you to have 1 of them. And there's probably a tutor for crimes, like there's a tutor for every other special card for every other faction. So let's talk about this card. This card, by the way, Art Night, obviously this is the art that I do for Art Night. All right, yeah, so the Blind Eyes, right? That's the King of Beggars gang. King of Beggars, one of the leaders. We don't know what the leaders do yet. So this guy is cool. So this is what profiting looks like at the 4 provision slot. So you get 2 coins, you get 3 points on the body, and it's the bonded card. So you get big profit if you play them both in the same round. So you're gonna want some crappy cards, right? You're going to want some kind of throwaway 4 provision point cards. It seems like Syndicate has a lot of good ones, though. And I don't know how good this one is. But this is probably an example of a card that probably won't see play, but is still probably going to be something that's going to be awesome in seasonal modes. And, you get to complete the bonded contract. Yay. There probably is going to be better ways to profit, I think. I just have a feeling there's going to be better ways to profit, but the card is great. The flavor is great. It's great to have a bonded card in the faction. It's just good to have multiple ways to profit. Maybe there is a crazy gold rush deck. Maybe I'm wrong about, I didn't get a chance to play very many games on the PTR. I gotta say, I love this artwork. It's just like a scene from a movie. This artwork is so great. 5 provision point, another crime, profit 4. There's another card that does not have an immediate effect. It's bronze card, you can play 2 of them. Gain 4 crowns, draw a card, and then put a card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. So if you are running, you know, your wretched addict, your back alley chemist, your beggar, whatever. Some card that, you know, in round 3 isn't so great, or round 2, you just want to like build some coins up and spend them. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of dirtling you can do where you're just kind of gaining coins and doing nothing. Gaining coins and doing nothing with them. So if that's the case, if there's like kind of like, you know, the thing is like in a unitless deck, the unfortunate thing is that I think that this faction will have a pretty good low unit strategy, in that the dirtling, or the I'm just going to play removal on your units, and if you don't have any units, I'm just going to burn the card. Ha ha, I don't care about your points. That kind of sort of play style is great for Syndicate, because they can gain stuff, they can gain resources to use later, right? They gain the resources to use later. So even if your opponent is also playing control, you actually have like a good way of responding to it. So as like one-ofs, that card there, eavesdrop or pickpocket, you know, there's a lot of good stuff at 4. You might have the provisions to like load up on just a card that's like, oh, you're not going to play anything? You're not going to play anything that I can interact with? Well, I'll play something you can interact with, plus it's going to get me bonus later. I think it's pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool. And we get to see the deck thinner. So now we're into like Horse and Junior's flavor here. The cut-ups, the insane clown posse. So here we have the Insanity. It's actually called Insanity. It's so great. 6 provision points for 4 points on the body. If you have 2 crowns, you thin the card. All units. All copies of this card. And if you don't have the 2 crowns, you can do it anyway. You just have to self-wound this card by 2. Card's awesome. It's going to see play. It's clearly competitive. Moving right along. I feel like I don't even have to talk about this card. It's dope. You guys all probably will agree with me. And here's a really interesting 4 provision point special card. This is bloody good fun. It's a 4 provision point card. It's a crime. 4 provision points, profit 3, but then you lose all your crowns. All of them. And then you damage an enemy by the same amount. So this card is really a lot like Predatory Dive, or like Scoia'tael, where if you get the value you are looking for when you put this card in your deck, it is going to be a great value card. So like a lot like Predatory Dive. For 5 provision points, you can kill like any unit on the board if it's your opponent's only unit. This card is kind of like that, in the way that it's a techie card. It's definitely going to care about unitless decks. And if it's going to play with that kind of unitless, I'll profit and not play anything kind of thing. It's a really interesting card. I really think it's interesting. Boys, what did you have for us next?
Because they bet money on it. Oh, there we go.
Here.
We found him.
He's here.
So, as you see, Tatterwing, he's destroying allied unit and boosts self by its base power.
Easy.
Which means
Okay, so he didn't
it
say.
still works good in monsters.
Yes.
And with cut-ups, he can consume unit who used Insanity.
What? Look at this card's rate. Holy shit. Like, it's 8 for a 6. Oh, I think only like Pavetta has that rate, right? It's 8 for a 6 that takes advantage of the Insanity ability. It's a card that Consume likes, Death Wish likes, but also wounded cards like. And what does Insanity do? It self-wounds. And what does Sucrus prevent against? Self-wounding. And what does Skellige care about? Self-wounding. Elegant and beautifully tied together. These are your 20 cards for the Syndicate faction. There's going to be community reveals for the next 2 weeks, because this bad boy is coming out on June 28th in the game by the kegs. It has been ages, Blood Beastie. Thanks guys for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I have been away for a while. I've been away for about 5 weeks. Haven't put out a lot of videos. I'm not going to say I'm back and then promise you the world. What I am going to say is that this is amazing Gwent news. As you can clearly see, I am hyped about it. Obviously, I love Gwent and I have been playing it off and on, but I haven't been playing it a lot. I have been doing a lot of writing, so I haven't been gaming a lot, really. I've been having like Slay the Spire sessions on Switch on the side. That's like pretty much all I've been doing. And I played Time Spinner and I beat it. It's a short game and it's a good game. I highly recommend it. It's like, but the length of SteamWorld dig. It's like quick fun. It's a good game. Especially if you like Castlevania. It's like basically a pure homage to Castlevania. These are your Syndicate cards. So what do we got in the future? Well, I'll tell you, community reveals. I'm in the community. I'm just going to say it, guys. You can probably guess it. I'm going to have a card for you at some point. How I'm going to reveal it? Probably live. Probably do it live, and then I'll probably cut the video right away. It'll probably be a short stream. It changes the tournament meta a lot when they add a new faction. So I'm kind of hoping. I mean, I don't know what they're planning for Redania, but I know that the Syndicate has 5 leaders, which is fine for Gwent because Gwent has had kind of incongruent leader numbers like all over the place. Monsters historically has always had like 1 extra leader, right? So maybe in the next expansion after this one, where they add new cards for every faction, they will maybe add Redania to this faction. I'm just saying Jason talked a lot about Radovid. He talked a lot about Redania for a faction that appears to have 0 Redania. Doesn't that seem weird? Also, in the trailer, my friends, who's flipping that coin?